Hey everyone, Aaron here with Elite Watersports, and we're doing a whole video series on kite repair and how to get you back out in the water if you damage your kite. This particular video is finding the leak and patching it with a couple different supplies. We'll get into the details here in a second. So this video is going to be a little bit more about how to patch the leak that you've already found. And how to find that leak, you'll naturally just pump up your kite, isolate all the struts by closing off the valves, using soap and water, and finding the leak that way. We actually have a different video for that. This bladder, we've already determined, has a pinhole somewhere in it. And what we're going to do is first take it out of the kite. We have a video on that also. After we take it out of the kite, we're going to pump it up all the way. You can see it's already pretty deflated. I put the hose back on it. Blow it up, get it really pressurized, not too much PSI, like maybe 1 PSI, all right? So just about the pressure you can do with your mouth. So I just blew up the bladder, and I'm gonna pick a nice, not sandy spot, not gritty, mainly like either carpet or really nice grass. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the kite or the bladder down. I'm actually already know where the leak is, so I'm plugging it up. But if the leak is like super micro small, like a sand spur, or where the stitching has been rubbing on the bladder, you're gonna have to go over it with soap and water and going back and forth and just trying to find that littlest, smallest, tiniest little leak. And in this case, you can see that these bubbles are forming. So I'm releasing my finger a little bit. This is what a micro leak's gonna look like. So just barely bubbling like that. So you'll just keep on rinsing the bladder and finding that leak. And then once you determine where it is, sometimes what we use is actually a marker. So when you find those micro leaks, it might not be so obvious. So you wanna circle it with a marker so you know exactly where it is. After I've determined where it is, now I need to get my supplies to fix it. Supplies that we need is some denatured alcohol, not rubbing alcohol. You want to do denatured alcohols that'll cut the oily substances off. We sell type A tape on our website by the foot. Check that out. So you'll need type A tape, some scissors, and a marker if you have to like pinpoint exactly where that hole is, and then of course a rag. So after you already know where that hole is, you're gonna take it. Now, because you've bubble tested it, you have some air in there that you gotta get released first. And sometimes you can just take a hose to the bladder to get all that extra off. I just take a rag in this case. I'm out in the sun, it's nice and warm. You can't do it if it's cold. If it's cold out, you can use an iron to heat everything up. Wiping all that bubble stuff off. We just use a little bit of Dawn dish soap. Take your denatured alcohol, put it on your rag. Use it sparingly, don't waste it. You're gonna rub it. And some of that alcohol will get inside of the bladder. You wanna definitely make sure that, you know, that hole isn't seeping any kind of water out of it or alcohol. Now, denatured alcohol will actually leave like a kind of a cold film on it. So one part of the rag will have the alcohol. Use the clean side of the rag to really wipe that bladder down. It's about 80 degrees here in Florida right now. Beautiful conditions to kiteboard. This is the only thing holding me back from an ultimate session, so I want to get it fixed. All right, so after I got it nice and clean, I'm gonna take my type A tape. And if the pinhole is like, say, 1/8 of an inch, you wanna go ahead and use the tape, not so sparingly, just layer it on, but at least have a 1/2 inch overlapping, you know, protruding past that hole. So I like to do circles. You can take like the cap and draw a circle, but circles are least likely to peel off because they don't have any corners. So the name of the game is not having any corners, have rounded edges. If I make a square cut, I just round the corners off. A little tip is, put the tape actually in the sunlight to heat it up, or you can take your pants and just rub it back and forth, and you can feel the friction heat the tape up. That just kind of activates the glue. Type A tape actually has like glue on the backside of it. So I can feel the heat through my fingers right now. Now we're gonna peel the tape. Sometimes this is the hard part. Just stick my nail in there. You can use like a razor knife, or when you're cutting it, just have a little bit more angle to your cut. Now, once I put this tape on the bladder, it shouldn't come off. I mean, literally, like, as soon as it even touches, it's there forever. So make sure that you line up everything. And I like using my leg in this situation to kind of tighten the bladder up, but you certainly don't want it stretched. You don't want that bladder to be expanded. Kind of like fold it like a little bit of a taco, lay it on the middle. And you can see that over here where I was using my finger to kind of hold or pull it off the paper, it's a little bubbly and a little bit cloudy. You want it to look more like this. And how I can fix all that is by actually stretching the bladder and stretching the tape. And that gets more adhesion, more glue to stick on the bladder itself. And as I go around the actual patch, I want to see glue actually stretch away from the tape and be sticking on the bladder itself. So I look for the shiny glue to be kind of peeling away, and you don't want any wrinkles or folds. If I happen to have a fold in here, I'm gonna have to put a bigger patch on it. You can't fix a fold by putting more and more tape on it. You're just gonna be literally having rivers of air at every single joint. So if I mess this up, I can't get this tape off. It's literally there forever. I'm just gonna put a bigger patch on it. So this is for pinholes. Now I'm gonna show you if we have like a massive rip and how you can put that together. So a lot of times we're faced with like even a bigger hole, like say the bladder wasn't installed correctly and it blew out, and we end up having a pretty cut up bladder with maybe a piece missing, or where like if we put type A tape over top of that, it's gonna stick to the other side of the bladder. So we can take some of this toilet paper and we're actually gonna put it inside, kind of spread it around. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as that rip is over top the toilet paper, and when I put that type A tape on it, it's not gonna stick to the other side. And we're gonna leave that toilet paper in there. We're not gonna take it out. It's not gonna be a problem. It's not giving us any weight or anything like that. And if it did get any moisture in there, well, the bladders dry themselves out the more times you pump it up and use the Kite. So when in doubt, just use the Kite. All right, so after I get that toilet paper in there, I'm gonna size up the tape, and I can use these lines to make sure I'm overlapping. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out a nice rectangle. Earlier, I talked about not having any corners. So in this case, I have corners. So I'm gonna take the scissors and round those corners off. Again, we sell this type A tape on our website in any length that you want. It's always good to have it in your glove box or in your repair kit if you're on a sailboat down in the Caribbean and you gotta find your leaks. Once I was in the OBX, and believe it or not, a school of cats got a hold of my brand new Kite and clawed and put like 14 holes. I'll never forget, 14 holes in the leading edge. And I would have been done for the whole entire week. Wouldn't have had a Kite if I didn't know how to do this. So I now have the type A tape ready to go. And because this is a little bit larger repair, I'm only gonna peel off a little bit of the backer. It's pretty hot out here. If it's not, I'm gonna heat it up with an iron. I'm gonna start looking where the repair or the cut stops. Make sure it's about a 1/2 inch past the hole. I'm gonna slowly roll it into it, making sure I have no veins where the rip and the air can pass through the tape. So that was a perfect adhesion. Maybe it's not perfectly centered, but I have a good 1/2 inch in between the rip and the actual Type A tape. So this patch in itself will last forever as long as you put it on correctly, you had some good heat on it, and you stretch the bladder all the way around the whole entire tape. And like I said, this repair will last forever. You'll never have an issue. You'll never have it leak unless the tape fails because you didn't put it on correctly. There you go. So in closing, I just taught you how to repair a bladder that has a small leak or tear or whatnot. Don't leave this to the pros only. You should know a little bit about this or have done it at least once or twice, especially if you're in a situation of being in a remote island, a remote place where there's no shops around. Having some Type A tape in your toolbox and having the knowledge because you've watched these videos to get back out in the water sooner than later. This is Aaron with Elite Watersports. If you have any more questions, especially like for install, watch our other videos or give us a comment or call the shop 727-800-2202. We're always available 7 days a week. See you on the water.